guys, Roxxy Sims here, and I have another speed build for you today. Today I am building a 1950s mid-century modern family home. I am just so into mid-century modern builds right now, and I don't know if you know this, but I am making a save file, and I don't have a whole lot of builds for Oasis Springs, so I thought, hey, if I am in the mood for mid-century modern builds, I might as well go over into that mid-century Oasis Springs area and just fill it up. So that is what I am doing. I've also had this idea for a while that I really wanted to make a red and teal, like a kind of aqua color mid-century modern home. And aqua and like red, it just screams 50s to me. I don't know if it's just me, but that is so 50s in my mind. So that is where I got the 1950s mid-century modern from. I'm like, I have to make a red and teal one, so... You know, and I haven't made a 1950s home, I think in quite a while, so I thought that'd be pretty fun. And I tried to make this 1950s home as legit 1950s as I possibly could. And, you know, I don't know if you've looked at a whole lot of 1950s homes, but they're kind of ugly. You know, it has a bit of ugliness to it. I can't sugarcoat it, it's just ugly sometimes, so I had to put some kind of ugly stuff in here, you know, because it's so important to me for it to be truly 1950s. So there are a couple things in here I'm like, oh, this is so gross, but it really is 1950s. Like, for example, in the kids' bedrooms in here, I put red carpet because I've been in a few 1950s homes that totally had bright red kind of shag type carpet. It's gross, but it's the most 1950s thing I've ever seen. So, you know, a couple things in here, maybe not my style, but I wanted to go full on, real deal 1950s. And the truth of it is even though I know red carpet is ugly, it's charming. I don't know if you guys feel that way too. So I can go into an old house and realize that this is totally not my style and not what I would put in my current home, but I still like it. Even though I know it's ugly, I still really enjoy that style. So, you know, I gotta say, I kind of like the red carpet. It just, I don't know, it makes me smile. So, I really like the red carpet. There's like this, you know, wood paneling in there. And while I wouldn't put cheap wood paneling in my house, I still kind of like it for these houses. One of my absolute favorite things that I was able to make for this build is I figured out a way to kind of make a vintage looking TV, because I was struggling with it the whole build. I'm like, you know, none of these TVs that we have in The Sims are anywhere near 1950s. I think the oldest TV that we have is maybe from the 90s. It looks kind of like from the 90s. And so none of the TVs were even going to come close to working for the build. And so I was just gonna not put a TV in there. I was just like, no, I just won't put one in. But at the very end of this video, I thought about it more and more. I'm like, I really want a TV in here. So I figured out a way to, I think it looks pretty good, to make this like vintage TV. I put together a couple of end tables and a couple of TVs, and I made one that looks pretty good. I can't wait for you guys to see. Tell me what you think about it. But I have a reference picture, and I'm really happy that it like came out looking pretty close to the actual 1950s reference picture. So I'm pretty excited to show you. But guys, how nice would it be if we got like a stuff pack or like a game pack? And yeah, a game pack would actually be really great of like truly vintage things. Wouldn't that be so nice? That's what I was talking about with, I shared the picture of the vintage looking TV on Twitter, and we were talking about how nice it'd be to have real vintage stuff in the game. I am all for that. I mean, honestly, there wouldn't be many packs that I would be against. Just give me all the things and I'll enjoy it and I'll buy it. But yeah, vintage one especially, I would love to have one because I absolutely love building old houses. It is one of my favorite things. I love old buildings, no matter if it's from the 1800s, the 1600s, 1980s, just anything old I like. So give me all of the old stuff. That's what I want. You know, because even though like for gameplay, you're just playing in like a current time, I'm a builder. I want to be able to build those old things. So the more old stuff they add, the better for me. One thing that I knew I had to put in this house were like linoleum floors, because that is the most 1950s thing possible, right? I mean, they linoleum everything. So I do put some linoleum floor in the kitchen. I thought terrazzo floor would be really great for this build. That'd be something like a flooring that I wish they could add is terrazzo flooring, because it's so mid-century modern, and I think I'd put it in a lot of builds. Terrazzo would be great. But since we have no terrazzo, I of course had to go with linoleum, because right around this time, so something that it just irks me and it makes me want to cry, is back like around this time period was like if people had old houses, so you know, an 1890s home, an early 1900s home, and it had like beautiful wood flooring in it. Around the 1950s, 40s, 30s, around then, is when they would take their wood flooring and then cover it in linoleum. Like, are you kidding me right now? Who would do such a thing? Who would cover nice wood floors with linoleum? It's crazy. But that was just the style back then. That was... So it was so stylish that they would ruin their wood floors and put linoleum on them. And that's why so many people today take up linoleum and there's nice wood floors under them. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of nice because linoleum would probably preserve the wood floors. So if you buy an old home, you might have some good wood floors hiding under that disgusting plastic linoleum. So anyway, we're in the living room now, and one thing that I really like about mid-century modern homes is actually that they are really, like, they're not symmetrical at all. They're completely off-kilter in every way, pretty much, and so I wanted to go with that, and I put 2 windows off to one side of the fireplace and 1 window off to the other side, which it kind of kills me because I like symmetrical things. But you know, mid-century modern is asymmetrical. You can't have everything perfectly lined up with mid-century modern, right? So it kind of irked me, but I'm like, no, this is super mid-century. I have to keep it. And then, of course, after the side, I had to put a bar, a wet bar, because that is, you know, I figure this is like a pretty cool couple, you know? They maybe had this house built and they wanted, you know, to be really cool and funky and, you know, and all of that. So had to have a bar. I feel like so many mid-century modern homes from back in the day look like they're built by like a bachelor. So like a partying bachelor, even though they're family homes, you know, because a lot of the emphasis is on a bar and on like parties and hanging out. Like you could tell the whole house was built with that in mind. So even though it's a family home, you know, they're all about the parties. Things were different back then. You know, I think so much of the emphasis nowadays is on the kids, but I feel like back then, not so much. That is the vibe that I get anyways. And they always make the master bedroom look really nice. And, oh, I did want to mention this house only has 1 bathroom because almost never, I went through a lot of layouts for 1950s homes, and whether it was mid-century modern or some other style, they rarely had more than 1 bathroom. It was pretty much always just 1 bathroom. So like, well, I wouldn't want to live that way now, but I think that was just very typical of the time. And oh, and I can't wait for you to see the bathroom because 1950s bathrooms were pretty bright colored and everything was the same color. So the tub was blue, the walls were blue, the toilet was blue, the sink was blue, and so that's what I went with. They were either always blue or pink, but I went with blue, so the entire bathroom is all blue. It's ugly but cute all at the same time. Back to that 1950s, kind of ugly but really cool anyways. I'm really excited for the new Tiny Living stuff pack, which the day that I'm recording it is the day that it comes out. So I'll have it any moment. As soon as I get done with this voiceover, I'm gonna go get it. Because that Tiny Living stuff pack has lots of mid-century modern furniture, and it's just gonna fuel my mid-century modern love even more. A lot of that mid-century modern furniture I think is really good for a more current mid-century modern home, which I don't know. I like more current mid-century modern homes, but I always end up building an old one. You know, I have a 1970s mid-century modern home, and I have this, you know, I like going kind of old with it. It's just so fun. You know, they made them so interestingly back then. So I always end up building old, but I think with I'm gonna build a tiny home that's in the mid-century modern style, because, you know, might as well with all the new mid-century modern furniture. So, you know, so that one will be a bit more modern. As you can see, I am working on the kids' rooms now. We have 2 kids' rooms, so we have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. I have a girl's bedroom and a boy's bedroom, and these were fun because I was trying to think of the kind of very stereotypical 1950s kids kind of rooms. So I have some like kind of space stuff going on in the beds, in the boys' bedroom, and some like Boy Scout stuff, and it was just really fun to decorate them in that kind of way. And I did want to talk to you more about this fireplace. So I'm kind of making like a custom fireplace here, because a lot, like none of the fireplaces that we have are really that 1950s to me. So I always feel like I have to make this like kind of custom fireplace. So I just put like a window, you know, put a bump out, put a window down below. I have the mantle as just a couple shelves and some brackets, and then you will see a little bit later, like in just a second, I'm going to put the fire in there, which, okay, these are basketballs that are on fire. Like, they will produce a flame. And if you want to get to these basketballs, all you have to do is you have to enable the cheat, the BB period show hidden objects cheat. You have to enable that. And then if you go to the search bar, you type in basketball. Don't take any of the suggestions that they'll give you in the search bar. Just go text search for basketball, and then it'll be the last basketball on that list. And those are the ones that are on fire. If you'd like to recreate this particular kind of fireplace. So, and then I take those basketballs, I size them down, I raise them up, and then I kind of hide them with those logs, which those logs you'll find in the debug menu. You know, it's that same cheat, the show hidden objects cheat. Then you press the debug in the search bar, and then you'll find those logs. Yeah, and so I just scattered the logs a little bit, and there you have kind of a functioning-ish kind of fireplace, and it looks a bit more like a real fireplace that you would see back in that time. But you could also make a completely different looking fireplace using this same kind of technique. Like sometimes I'll make more of a traditional looking fireplace by just taking a window. It's kind of like those leaded windows that have the crisscrosses on the windows. The most perfect one I have found so far is the one that came with Discovering University, because that has a beautiful little window with the crisscross, you know, leaded window. It works great with making fireplaces. So you take that window, you do the same thing, make a bump out, put the logs and the basketballs in there, and then you put that little window near the bottom, and then you can use the mantle that we got with the holiday pack, you know, that free holiday pack. They gave us that beautiful mantle, and then you just put that mantle right on, and there you go. You have a more traditional looking fireplace as well. Ever since I figured out how to make kind of a custom fireplace, it's hard for me to use any of the ones that come with this game. Although, I will say I always really like to use that brick fireplace that came with cats and dogs. Love that fireplace. It's so cute. And I also really do like the one, I think it came in cats and dogs too. It's like humongous and it looks kind of built in. I just really like the fireplaces that look more built in because it just seems way more realistic to me. As you see here, I'm adding a fish tank because I feel like they would totally have a fish tank. But also, I forgot to add this before I made this video, but I'm also going to add kind of a dog bowl and maybe a dog bed because I was so mad at myself for forgetting to put that in before I recorded this, but I really meant to, and so I will add that before I upload this to the gallery because I feel like this family would definitely have a dog, and it would 100% be a golden retriever because it's just like the most 1950s thing I've ever heard. So I will add that before I put it on the gallery. So guys, since Tiny Living is coming out today, I wanted to know what your guys' opinion was on like what type of tiny build that I should make next. So I'm really excited. I don't know which one I want to make first. I know I want to make like a camper, and I know I want to make a very like stereotypical tiny home that you normally think of, the one that's on wheels. But I don't know. I don't know what other ones I want to make. So I want to know if you guys have any requests. If so, let me know down below. Let me know if you're going to get the pack. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm going to download it as soon as I'm done doing this voiceover. So I'm getting pretty antsy and pretty excited. Also, are you more interested in me making like as small as possible kind of build? Or are you more interested in just it being like really cute? You know? I don't know. I think I'll probably make, you know, a few. But yeah, I don't know what size I'll make, because if you haven't heard yet, they have kind of like 3 tiers. So they have the small home, the tiny home, and the micro home. And a micro home is only like 32 squares or something. I don't have the game yet, so I don't know for sure, but it's somewhere around there. I think it's 64 squares and then 100 squares. So yeah, like which one are you more interested in? So a micro home, tiny home, or small home? Again, just let me know down in the comments. Well guys, we are on to the backyard of this build. This backyard is just so stereotypical, like desert home to me. So it's like gravel and a pool, you know, all the important things. And I like taking those, they're technically rugs, but you'll see me here, just like in the front, I put those, they're stone looking rugs. Quote unquote rugs. But yeah, I like using that because so much in a mid-century build, you kind of have like the stone stepping, you know, the stone steps. So I put that all around this pool and a little eating area back there. And I love these debug planters. Those look so cute. The curved green planters. I love those, and they're so Oasis Springs. I gotta be honest with you, I am so not a desert person. I think more green the better. I like having, you know, full 4 seasons and all of that. So when the game first came out, I was kind of like an Oasis Springs hater. I really was. I like never built in Oasis Springs when the game first came out. But like all of a sudden, I just started appreciating it. So I don't know what exactly like changed in my mind. But all of a sudden, I'm all about it. I'm like kind of dying to build in a desert. It's so weird. It's just like something clicked and I'm like, I gotta build in Oasis Springs. I mean, the game has been out for like 5 years and I've only just now really started appreciating Oasis Springs. So I feel like I have to apologize to Oasis Springs for being so judgmental before. I am so sorry, Oasis Springs. I now appreciate you very much. Maybe I enjoy it more now because we have more mid-century modern stuff. I think that definitely helps because desert and mid-century modern just go hand in hand to me. So I think that might be it, but I'm glad to finally be building here. My husband is actually from the desert, so he moved. I live in Missouri and he moved here like 20 years ago and he still complains about the cold. He's still not used to the cold, so you know, that desert climate is definitely a lot different from the Midwest. Midwest, it is real cold. It gets so unbearably cold here, so yeah, he doesn't like it very much. doing the landscaping in this build was just really fun. I like, you know, desert landscaping is so kind of structured. You know, it's very different from the landscaping that I normally do. There's like the decorating with boulders and stuff like that. So it was just really fun to landscape this one. I really liked it. And coming up very soon is where I start making the vintage TV. And again, can't wait for you to see it. Tell me what you think about it. Oh, one thing I did want to mention about the vintage looking TV is that I play tested it and it actually does work. So even though it's like hobbled together from a couple nightstands and TVs, it still does work. I had my sim watch some classics on it, so it was all black and white, and it got me a little giddy. I was really happy about it. But yeah, guys, we are pretty much at the end of my video. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope to talk to you all again very soon. Bye, everybody!